I'm Sarah Jensen, editor of OEM Off Highway magazine, and today I am talking with Kurt Bennick, senior editor of Equipment Today, and we're going to be discussing some of the technology advancements we're seeing in the trucking industries. Thanks for joining me today, Kurt.
Thank you, Sarah.
So technology investment has been a continuous development in the trucking and other industries, but the COVID-19 pandemic has kind of brought to light a little bit of a need for further investment in some technologies, such as automation. We've been hearing from some of the research firms like ID Tech X that believes the growth of robotics and automation in logistics industries will really grow due to the pandemic, or what some of the things it's seen during the pandemic with the need for getting supplies to people faster while protecting employees of these logistics companies and warehouses. ID Tech X says it forecasts annual unit sales of robots to double within the next 6 years. And while there's already large deployments at many places, they assess that the real global inflection point will arrive in 2024, beyond at which point the pace of deployment will dramatically accelerate. Some of the reasons for this includes, shortage of drivers, robots, and autonomous vehicles can help to augment some of the challenges associated with that. So Kurt, what are you kind of seeing on the technology side for the trucking industry? Have you been seeing a stronger push towards more technology implementation due to all this, or is it just kind of a continuation of what's already been going on?
I think it's a continuation of what's been going on. This year we had the North American Commercial Vehicle Conference, which is very enlightening because most major manufacturers are on the same wavelength. They're all talking about connectivity, electrification, and autonomy. Those are the major talking points this past year in the trucking industry. Connectivity is more advanced than the other technologies because it's already here. It's already reshaping the way fleets are managed. With the growing trend towards the Internet of Things, components on the trucks starting to talk to each other and communicate to drive efficiency. While the vehicles are generating an ever-increasing amount of data, it's filling fleet management software systems. While the industry's direction really has not changed during the current pandemic, some of the technologies have proven that the industry is definitely headed in the right direction. For instance, data is key to driving uptime. All manufacturers have instituted uptime programs that watch for potential failures and provide the data needed for fleet managers and owners to make well-informed decisions. Mack, Volvo, Freightliner, Kenworth, I don't think there's a Class 8 manufacturer out there that hasn't been using data to help drive decisions to decrease downtime. Then remote diagnostics, remote electronic service check-ins, and advanced service procedures that eliminate paperwork in the service departments in favor of electronic data communications with customers are helping manufacturers maintain critical services more efficiently while simultaneously helping efforts to social distance. It was an existing technology, but it really is helping with the pandemic, helping people in their efforts to social distance while maintaining the level of service that customers have come to expect. While the broader issue of automation holds a lot of promise for the future, the technology is still in its infancy, and it will not be an immediate factor during this current pandemic. Companies have autonomous test vehicles, such as Freightliner had its Inspirion that it tested out earlier in Nevada. They got a special permit in Nevada in order to test the vehicle. But, autonomous at this stage are mostly prototypes. With that said, autonomy does hold a lot of promise for the future, and the current crisis further validates continued development efforts.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of growth and investment in R&D efforts with that as well. While it's a future technology still at this point, there's many forms and aspects of it. Are there any specific advancements you're seeing currently regarding automation for trucks or other heavy-duty vehicles?
There are, and I think a lot of it is people have misnomers about autonomy. They think of autonomy as being a self-driving truck with no driver. In reality, autonomy is more of a gradual road to get to that point. There's a lot of different features that are being added or taking us down the road of autonomy. Autonomy is gaining a lot of media attention. Don't expect the highways to be full of driverless trucks anytime soon. The term autonomy may conjure up images of driverless truck technology, but autonomy comes in many forms. SAE actually defines 5 different levels of automation. I'm going to run through the levels here because it's important to understand where we're at and where we're going. Level 1 is driver assistance. One function is controlled automatically, such as speed. That'd be like the cruise control in your car. Level 2, that's where we're at mostly today, is on partial automation. Well, steering and speed are automated with the driver ready to take control of the vehicle. The driver is still in the vehicle, he's still monitoring, but he doesn't have the stress of having to control the throttle and steering. The vehicle is doing that for him, but he's always poised to take over in case there's a malfunction or he sees something that he needs to intervene. Then there's level 3, which is conditional automation. All tasks are automated in some situations, such as driving on a highway. All safety critical functions are automated, but the driver is present for certain traffic and environmental conditions. So there might be certain stretches of road that are automated, where on the side streets or at loading docks, the operator still needs to be present to manually control the vehicle. Then there's level 4, which is high automation. All tasks are automated in limited environments with the driver present. It is automated to perform all safety critical functions. The ultimate goal, this is what most people think of when they think of automation, is full automation. Automation handles all roadway conditions and environments without a driver. The system performs equal to a human driver in all scenarios and conditions. Like I said, that's the ultimate goal, but we're not close to reaching that at this point. And I mean, we're basically starting with SAE level 2 automation today. Manufacturers are investing heavily in research and development to progress to higher levels of autonomy in the future. Right now, we're seeing a lot of advancements in driver-assisted technologies, which help address the issues of keeping an aging workforce behind the wheel. You know, the physical force to drive a vehicle is being reduced, and also to keep the novice operators who are less skilled. Some of these include predictive cruise control. What I mean by predictive cruise control is you can actually use the GPS systems in the landscape, and it actually looks up to a mile ahead of the truck, and it will know downhills or uphills, and it will put the truck in the correct gear and prepare the truck for that situation. Because you're talking about 80,000 pounds going down the roadway. It can't be instantaneous. When it gets there, you need to kind of predict what's coming next so you can be in the correct gear for the situation. There's also, they actually call the predictive cruise control PCC system. And like I said, it looks up to a mile ahead and adjusts engine output for uphill and downhill. It also gains you fuel efficiency based on being able to optimize the truck for the ground conditions. Another thing that we're seeing, and Volvo introduced this and Mack trucks as well, is dynamic steering assist, because the drivers aren't getting any younger and it takes a lot of effort to steer the truck. It's basically a hydraulic steering assist system that improves maneuverability, and it lessens steering effort by up to 85% at low speed, while maintaining a stiffer feel at highway speeds. The dynamic steering is also said to reduce driver fatigue through reduced steering effort while reducing road shock transmitted to the steering column and steering wheel. Then we get into the other systems which are really becoming prevalent today, which are advanced collision avoidance systems. Both WABCO and Bendix offer these systems. They integrate radar, camera, and brake technologies that are tied together in a comprehensive safety system that automatically controls the throttle and brake systems and notifies the driver of excessive speed or lane departures. For newer drivers or those who operate trucks with a high center of gravity, another critical feature that is tied to these systems is rollover protection and stability, enhanced stability systems. A lot of times, especially with cement trucks, which are heavy, high center of gravity, or with novice operators, on-ramps are a real danger because the sharp corners, you can dramatically decrease the rollover by using these systems. Manufacturers are also incorporating sophisticated CAN bus technology throughout their trucks for individual applications. CAN bus systems such as Navistar has their Diamond Logic system. You can take a concrete truck, for example, and customize it so that the driver can't drive away with the chute deployed. In the case of a PTO application, the PTO cannot be engaged unless all the other safety requirements are met. You can actually customize the truck to the specific application, whatever that application is, by writing software for the CAN bus system on the truck. Now, on the path to autonomous, other technologies are being tested in several states. And Sarah, I understand you know a lot about platooning, which is another one of those technologies.
Yeah, so platooning has been under development for a while. You know, it's the wireless connectivity between of two or more trucks. They follow a little closer together than currently regulated between trucks on freeways. There's a lead truck and then follower trucks. I know the ultimate goal is to have just like one driver in the lead truck and then the others be driverless, and the following trucks all do the maneuvers that the lead truck does. And the goals are to help make things more efficient, help improve fuel efficiency, because you have the drifting that goes along. The truck is supposed to be reduced and help improve fuel efficiency. And also it's supposed to make things more safe on the roadways because the trucks can react faster through the use of the various electronics components than potentially a human driver can. during a recent webinar hosted by Purdue University, company Peloton, which has been developing the platooning systems for several years now, discussed its ongoing work to develop the technology and said it's focusing on making it more of a driver assistance system, not as opposed to self-driving trucks. It'll help with the gradual steps towards reaching full autonomy at some point when we can maybe get to a point when there aren't drivers in vehicles. But for now, it's meant to be a systems that could be used now to help improve efficiency and safety on roadways. It includes a variety of systems, including the departure warning and other related systems, stability control, and air disc brakes, all which have become a little more prevalent in the industry, as you were mentioning, to improve safety. And it was announced during that webinar that there's a stretch of roadway between Indiana and Ohio where they'll be testing these types of vehicles to see how they can interact with in real world operations. Other roadways in the US where this is being tested, and in Europe, they've been testing it as well for quite some time. But beyond autonomy, are there other key technologies you're seeing being focused on currently within the trucking industry?
Basically, attracting drivers is one of the key things. The driver shortage, of course, has been eased because of the pandemic. But when freight starts to move and people start to move materials again, going to reappear where the same problem that we've been facing. Aging drivers and keeping new drivers safe on the road while keeping older drivers behind the wheel. Technologies that keep aging operators behind the wheel and protect novice operators seem to be gaining a lot of traction. Transmissions have almost all converted from manual transmission to either automated or automatics. This not only widens the driver pool, it relieves a lot of physical stress off aging drivers, especially stuck in traffic. How many times they have to activate the clutch and relieve the clutch? That's a lot of strain given 8-hour or 10-hour day. The same with technologies such as dynamic driver assist. Another key focus is electrification. Pickup and delivery application in areas with air quality issues such as the ports are a few of the initial targets for electric powertrains. But almost every truck OEM has introduced an electric truck or made an announcement of an upcoming electric truck offering. There are many discussions on range and battery technology, and the manufacturers plan to invest heavily in the next few years. This is one area to watch. It's uncertain as the downturn due to the pandemic may place a strain on R&D budgets. So we don't know if that's going to slow down the pace of the electric truck development or not, but there might be some impacts due to the budgeting constraints.
Yeah, we've heard a little bit of the same, but we've also heard some people say that it won't constrain R&D budgets. There might be more of a focus on R&D efforts during this downtime. So it'll be interesting to see. Truck OEMs in Europe have been talking about how they want economic recovery plans to also have a focus on continuing efforts to reduce emissions and meet targets put out during the Paris Climate Agreement. And then California actually just announced it's going to require that half of the trucks sold in the state be zero emission vehicles by 2035 and all of them by 2045, which will likely, aid with continued development efforts with OEMs and other component manufacturers and things. So it'll be interesting to see how that all progresses in the coming years. Do you foresee any of the technology coming to the trucking industry because of the COVID pandemic? Do you think it's just kind of a factor that'll push things that are already efforts that are already continuing?
It's validating a lot of the efforts the truck manufacturers already started. They were already headed down this road, and I think it's validating a lot of the decisions they've made. I don't think the current pandemic is necessarily driving new technology in the trucking industry. Rather, it's validating the direction that the industry is already heading. Mm-hmm. I think we will continue to see a focus on connectivity, electrification, and automation. There have been a negative impact on the amount of trucking activity and the resultant sales. It remains to be seen how that will impact R&D budgets, but we're definitely committed to those three areas.
Yeah, I would agree. We've been seeing much the same, and even same on the off-highway heavy equipment side of things. Thank you for taking the time to talk with me today, Kurt.
Thank you.